Welcome to the Jaw Talk Show once more time, and we have very exciting and the new program. You have seen hospitality and tourism industry with the honorable and valuable guest. So Jawad, first of all, Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum assalam, Amir. Assalamu alaikum to everyone watching right now to us. The point is that, Amir, as you said, today COVID has actually made it to the worst situation in Pakistan. We have touched 66,331. In last 24 hours, we have 29 positive cases and 78 deaths. This is the worst number so far in Pakistan. Amir, as you know that we start with the COVID, this is not a good sign to start with the COVID. It's bad numbers. I hope soon we will be giving numbers which will be declining down. But COVID has many impacts, Amir, as you know. And one of the impacts is that you are in your house from last 3 months. You have not been traveling. This is very interesting. Amir and me had a history of traveling a lot, and Amir has a lot more traveling than me. Amir, do you miss those
Uh,
flights?
I'm really, I think from 10 years, last 10 years, I haven't seen in my life, I did not travel in one whole quarter. Okay, so
Mm.
I'm really missing a lot of good opportunity as we have discussed in a lot of time in the different show. We have the good positive things. We are learning a lot of the new things. We are working on our skills and knowledge. But the missing part from my side is traveling because nowadays even my all meetings is on live, my all trainings on live, so there is no chance for the you can say that travel. So I missed a lot. You're right.
Well, when you miss traveling, you miss a lot of food, you miss a lot of sceneries, and you miss a lot of people meeting. But to talk about it also has a commercial impact. So to talk about life post COVID, preparing for it, and hospital industry, we have requested an honorable trainer, certified master trainer, life coach. He is well known. He does not need any introduction. Mr. Azam Jamil is certified CPD life coach. He has more than 44 years of experience in hospitality, tourism, management, marketing, operation, people management, training and development. Oh God, there is nothing left. He has been to Burnhall, Aptabad, to HSN, and then finally to Cornell University, New York. He is very well known hotelier in Pakistan and a master trainer. He has trained more than 45,000 top executives throughout the world. And I'm talking about, as I said earlier, Azam Jamil Saab, currently Chief Operating Officer, Hashoo Education Division. Welcome in the broadcast.
Assalamu alaikum, sir.
Walaikum Assalam. Thank you so much for having me. It's a real privilege and an honor.
Sir, the honor is all us. You know, we were shaking when we were making a request to you because for a couple of reasons. Number one, me and Amir do not think we are in a position to talk to you. We have been dreaming to have your lectures and your classes. We have
Right,
grown
right.
up in the corporate world seeing you teaching our boss's boss.
So this is a good
Yeah,
benefit and advantage. We have started this broadcast. I think this is a one of the good things we can talk people like you as on the virtual meeting and one to one. So this is a great honor for us, sir. Thank you very much for accepting our invitation and being part of this show.
you people actually do me a favor. I don't do you a favor. Every time I get an opportunity to share my thoughts, actually you are giving me a privilege and honor because when people get to my age and they've seen success and failure both, it's totally unfair not to share them and not just share the good news. I share a lot of my failures because you teach people a lot by sharing failures because you tell them that this is what I did and this is what was a disaster. Please don't do it. And I also tell youngsters and young managers that listen to failure stories. They teach you a lot more than success stories. So I'm all yours. Whatever you want to ask, if I have the answer, I'll give it to you. And if I don't have the answer, then we look for it together.
Sir, that is what make you one master trainer. So, to start with, how is weather? How is life treating you these days? COVID-19. You have been playing piano.
Okay. Uh, you know, when I was about 11 years old, one day my father came home and I was sitting alone, and he actually asked me what I was doing. And I told him I was getting bored. And he looked at me and he told me in English, and he said that getting bored is an insult to yourself.
Okay.
So from that moment, I realized that, I call myself Ashraful Makhlukat,
Hmm.
and I really need entertainment. I need other people to entertain me. I need some form of fun and tamasha going on. I should be able to survive alone, and I have and develop everything that solitude requires. So then I started playing music, I started reading, and COVID, despite the fact that it is a global tragedy, uh, to people like me, it's given me time to reflect, to be, on your own. And there's so many things you can do. There's so many things you can do when you're alone. But for that, you need an imagination. You need to dream. You
Hmm.
need to set new goals. You need to evaluate your life. You need to evaluate your personal life. How's your shadi going? How's your marriage going? What are you going to do in the next 2 years?
Hmm.
I am on the wrong side of 65. I don't have much time left, but you guys have an entire lifetime left, and you should be thinking that, where will I be 5 years from now? And this is not something that somebody can teach you. This is what you do when you're alone. And so tanhai jo hai na, solitude, is a very beautiful gift. What was our biggest complaint before COVID? Our biggest complaint before COVID was the standard. I don't have time. Children didn't have time for their parents. Parents didn't have time for their children. You didn't have time to play sports. You didn't have time. Everything wrong that you did, you had an excuse. And then God said, okay, is time your problem? Here's my gift to you. You have all the time in the world. Now tell me what you're capable of doing. So now we need to use this time. Yes, it's a global tragedy, and nobody would ever want anything similar to COVID ever to hit humanity again. But the fact is that it's in our lap, and we can either cry and mourn, or we can use it as an opportunity, because every tragedy brings with it some opportunity. When there's a fire in a jungle, all the animals are displaced, but then the jungle regrows into a much stronger jungle. You find foliage that is much stronger. uh, Lava destroys everything, but post lava, the fertility of the land becomes very, very high. So yes, it's just a matter of how positive you are here. If you're not positive in your mind, Amir and Jawad, if somebody gives you, a fantastic thing in your hand, you'll find fault in it. And that's what we've become. We've become so negative. But it's my job to fix it. So it's my challenge. I have Pakistan's youth on one side and me on the one side, and it's a T20 match. And I shall keep playing it till Allah has given me breath and I can breathe. I will keep
Inshallah.
playing that match.
Inshallah,
Inshallah.
sir, you will be there for us. Sir, you
Eh,
just gave us a very new perspective about getting bored. As your father advised you, it was a new thing to me that being bothered means I am disrespecting to myself. I guess
of
people
course.
listening out there would have this new trend. Sir, as you said, we need to be positive around the COVID and the life around it. We haven't seen these things ahead. We never planned it. We were not taught about it. Now then, it comes, the COVID comes, and we all got up, locked down to our houses or to our rooms or to our office or wherever we are. You tell us, sir, the question rises how we keep ourselves positive, because number one, we watching media telling us so many people died. We just said it starting of the program that so much so people died yesterday.
Yeah, yeah.
Then we keep listening that the pay cuts, we keep listening the job cut downs. We hear stories of the people bankrupting, and so on and so forth. Then we don't find reason to be positive. How you would guide people to remain positive during all these crises?
Okay, let me ask you a counter question.
Well,
Before COVID, before COVID, were your problems any less? They were
no.
just different. You
Yeah.
had a bad boss. You had a bad boss. You weren't paid enough. You know, everybody was everybody was mistreating you. Your wife didn't love you, or she didn't pay any attention to you. Your children were not listening to you. Before COVID, our problems, if you really are honest to yourself, we had our share of problems before COVID also. Yes, the virus wasn't there, but there were plenty other issues, but we were facing them, and we were all dealing with them, and we were all moving forward. The only reason COVID has struck us is that it's unexpected. And humanity, when something unexpected hits you, there's no model that you have which is a solution model. Look at every country today. Nobody knows how to deal with it. Nobody. You look at the first world, they have, regrettably, they have more deaths than us. You look
Yeah.
at us, everybody is experimenting, everybody is trying because there's no manual, there's no user's manual on COVID. But what COVID will do now, the bright side of this, if there is a bright side, is it will teach the world how to deal with such pandemics in the future. Now
Mm.
we have a manual. Now we know what, did you hear the word social distancing before COVID? I've never heard it in my life.
Right. Right.
You know,
Yeah.
social distancing was staying away from people that you didn't like. You know, that
Prediction.
that was social. You know, some relatives you didn't like, your popo that you don't like, you stay away from her. That's social distancing, right? So, but now, like I said, that every adversity teaches you something. And my one of my bosses, Air Marshal Noor Khan, once told me. He said he was a Fauji and he knew more management than any Harvard graduate. And he once told me that, Azam, your character will always be checked in adversity. When things are difficult, I will then salute you. If you have a good boss, what's the big deal? Who can't work with a good boss? But if you have a really bad boss and then you work with him, that's when I salute you. Because that shows your strength and that
Mm.
shows your character. And I can't understand youngsters who leave their jobs because they have bad bosses. Or for God's sake, if you leave your job because of a bad boss, who's won? He's won. You've lost. You have a briefcase and now you're going from pillar to post in blue area trying to look for an interview. So leave your job for any reason in the world. I don't mind. Never leave it because you have a bad boss. That's the worst reason to leave a job. Because for one simple, guys, for one simple logical reason, wherever you're going next, the boss from there will be from Makkah and Medina.
No. He'll
So,
be from the same
He
world.
could, he
they are
could be
more,
he,
they will be more
he could
strict
be
from that way.
he could be worse than this one. And then where will you run? And how much will you run? So the air marshal always told me, he said, I will always check your character in times of trouble. Today, you guys can come and tell me, look me in the eye and say, sir, we have never stolen food. You know why you say that? because you have food on your table 3 times a day.
Yeah.
If your children go hungry for 4 days, then
Mm.
look me in the eye and then tell me that my kids are hungry for 4 days. I still haven't stolen food. Then you will find me saluting you.
Very,
So,
very different. Yeah.
if you are not on that position, you cannot claim I cannot do or I can do, because you are not in that
Exactly.
position. It's very easy to
Exactly.
talk, but it's very easy to
Exactly.
on the action.
Exactly.
So if we will talk about we are missing our traveling and we are missing our other things. So how you are seeing, because it's a industry, tourism industry and hotel industry is a big industry, even in Pakistan as well, and this is going to be boom little bit after the new government and they are promoting, and other country as well. So how you are seeing the people who are working that industry, how they will survive and how they will be come back. And one question I have, what I have asked, it is very much related to this question. So this is a question because your picture is going. So maybe I will uh, drop Jawad for 1 minute. Yeah. वो कहते हैं आज फोर्सेस से गिलगित बिल्तिस्तान tourism industry post corona, GB tourism was hit hard by post 2001 smart terrorism operation and Naga Parbat attack. The industry was just booming and corona comes. So these two questions, sir, if you want to reply.
Okay. Okay. Gilgit-Baltistan is very close to my heart. And the reason it's close to my heart is that for 20 years I worked for the Aga Khan Development Network. I was with Serena Hotels. And I used to go to GB every month. These people in Gilgit-Baltistan know that long before Corona came, for 5 or 6 years, tourism collapsed there. There was not a single person there. People didn't know how to survive and how to buy food. And I used to go there, and literally, we had arranged microfinance funding for families to survive. Okay, so Gilgit-Baltistan is probably, in my opinion, and I've traveled the world, is probably the most stunningly beautiful place I have ever seen in my life. Okay, period.
No,
End of story. Okay, no argument.
no.
And it's very close to my heart. You know, my daughter once went there, and the people told her, "Ki tum Azam Jamil, you're not Azam Jamil's daughter, you are Hunza's daughter."
MashaAllah.
Mashallah.
Wow.
So,
Wow.
so that's how much love I have for the area. So
Mm.
they've seen bad times before. Those people have gone, and for centuries, those people have gone through bad times, you know? And you tell them, okay, you know, in winter, it is so frightfully cold that survival is difficult. And then you ask them, what do you do in the summer? And they say, we prepare for the winter. So that's their life.
Yeah.
So that's their life. And they've seen bad times. So if anybody who is strong enough to deal with this, I firmly believe the people of Gilgit-Baltistan are made of steel and they're made of gold.
Hmm.
They are made of gold. Okay, they will pull through this. Okay, because they are generally attuned. Their DNA is dealing with difficult times. Their area is difficult. Their environment is difficult, and their business survival is difficult. And yes, this gentleman who asked the question is absolutely right. In the last 3 or 4 years, tourism took a turn, and nobody was happier than me. My own children, when I used to call Serena and said, my children are coming, and they used to say, we don't have a room. And nothing made me happier that when they refused a room to a senior officer at Serena, because it was music to my ears. But yes, COVID will set them back. It will set them back, and it will set everybody back. It's not just Gilgit-Baltistan. There's not a single tourism destination in the world that will not be affected. But you tell me that other than all of us working together, rallying together, supporting each other, and pulling out of this, post-COVID effect, we have no other choice. You know, the skies will not split, and money is not going to fall into your lap. Okay, so no miracle will happen. And so if the miracle doesn't happen, this is, one of the reasons, one of the things COVID may teach us Pakistanis, which sadly we had lost in the last 40 years, is to become a nation again. We have always been a country. We stopped being a nation. And maybe this is God's way of giving us a wake up call. And so my hope is that we start looking, guys, you're not, that there was a time that when Eid used to come or any sad occasion come, your entire neighborhood was at your house,
Yes,
right?
yes, yes, yes.
I've been living in this house for 3 years. I don't know the name of my neighbor.
Mm.
And he doesn't know my name either. So this is how
Yeah, you are
alienated
there.
we have become. Yeah, we've become alienated. We've become divorced from each other. Divorced also in happiness, divorced in joy, and divorced in grief. We don't even share each other's grief. A lot of times we enjoy others' grief. This is what we've become. If anybody is in trouble, it gives you some kind of a strange, perverted pleasure, which I have never been able to understand. Even in office, when I train managers, I said if a manager praises you, that joy stays with you for half an hour. But if the same manager reprimands your colleague, that joy stays for 3 days. You know, you
I
come
would.
home.
So on the
So
lighter note, because you are talking about the same topic, so I was thinking is we can take this feedback from Saeed Abbasi. So he said, if you have tendency to face bad boss,
Bad.
believe me, Corona आपका कुछ नहीं बिगाड़ सकता.
which is so.
So
You
he's
see, the
agree with you.
question. This is देखिए, I I love strong kids, and kids मैं किसको कहता हूँ? Anybody below 40 is a kid to me. ठीक है? बल्कि now I think I'm going to increase that to 45.
42 तक
So
कर
just
ले.
because of Amir?
42 तक कर
I
ले.
I tell you, if any kid comes to me and tells me that he has a very bad, because look, bosses are not angels, they are human beings, okay? They come with their own bundle of good things and bad things, okay? I tell them when you become a boss, you will also go with your bundle of good things and bad things. There are a lot of kids who will not like you also. So I think we need to accept that we are dealing with human beings. We are not dealing with perfection. Okay. And if you realize, every time we speak of tolerance, we take it to religion. KG, we are short of religious tolerance. You guys tell me, in which field are we tolerant? We are not
No.
tolerant in any field now.
Anyway, we are not tolerant on the road,
Huh.
sir.
We are not tolerant with our family. We are not tolerant with our friends. We are not tolerant. Religion gets the blame, but we have stopped learning. And this is where sports comes in. Now, you know why sports comes in here? I have been screaming for the last 25 years that these schools in houses are fine. They're very good schools, but they don't have playgrounds.
Hmm.
And people correlate sports with physical fitness. And physical fitness is something that you can learn on a treadmill. You don't need sports for that. You know what the biggest quality of being a sportsman is? It's
The
the
control or
only
mind.
thing. No, Amir. Jawad, Amir, this is the only thing that teaches you how to lose.
Yes, perfect.
We as a nation have forgotten how to lose. As long as we are winning, we are fine. The minute we lose, we slit each other's throat because we have not played sport. I was national doubles tennis champion for Pakistan. If you look at my CV, I have lost more matches than I won, and I was national champion, right? So fundamentally, it we no other trade will teach you how to lose. If you lose in your job 3 or 4 times, they'll kick you out.
Yes.
If you lose in your education in your school or university, they'll fail you. They'll take you out. The
Yes.
sports is one thing that you keep falling down and then you keep getting up and you keep get and then suddenly I mean I'm an average sportsman. Even if you take a good quality sportsman like the prime minister, look at the amount of matches he's lost.
Mm.
Yes, you're right.
So it's a this mindset of intolerance comes from not accepting defeat.
Defeat.
Mm.
The minute when you are arguing with your friend, your
Mm.
total objective there is to win that argument.
The argument, yes, to make it
Bas,
accepted. Yes,
you
right.
because there is Anna sitting here now. There's ego sitting here, and all your focus is that you will destroy your relationship with that friend, but you have to win the argument.
Azam sir,
Be- Gee,
Azam sir, if we take this question little deeper, he asked
right?
about the Gilgit-Baltistan, our friend, but I would
Yeah.
put it in a little larger way. Uh, uh,
Okay.
we see a new normal coming up, and this word new
Yes.
normal, if briefly after my question you can update us, I mean, tell us about the thing new normal, because we keep listening it. We have been listening it in our theories. Now practically we are seeing the new normal, so the new
Right.
normal would be interesting to know. But if we talk about largely about the this tourism industry and hospitality industry, these both are go side by side. We
Yes.
see a new normal that people would be traveling less. That is what all the big companies, McKinsey and all these, have been telling us in last 2 or 3 months in their reports, that for at least next 18 months there would be difficult to travel, because every time you travel you might have to go through certain procedures of the testing and quarantining and all that.
Right.
Do you see, how do you see the survival of these industries? Number one, we have
Very,
seen in
very, very.
2018. Yeah.
Yeah. Very
When
difficult.
our industry was, when our economy was growing at 6%, this industry was growing at 3.7%. Now, when it will be negative something, how do you see this?
Okay. First of all, try to understand that hospitality, by definition, is a very fragile industry.
Okay.
Even when there's no COVID, if anything bad happens in an environment, the first industry to get hit is the hospitality.
Mm.
If there's a law and order situation, if there's a bomb blast, anything negative happens, the first industry that gets hit is
Yeah.
hospitality. So hospitality by nature is very fragile. It is the
Mm.
first to break. Okay, other industries find ways to survive. It's very, very difficult to handle hospitality. Okay, now COVID is, like I said earlier, is something that's never happened in our lives before. Okay,
Yes. Yes.
uh, so if you're asking me, do I have a manual how to fix this? The answer is no. If I tell you that everything will be fine, I'll be lying to you. It will not be fine. Hospitality and travel will pay a very heavy price.
Yeah.
Okay, and one of the reasons we will pay a heavy price is that we are an industry that cannot be digitized.
Mm.
Banking can be
Yes.
digitized, everything else can be digitized.
Mm.
With hospitality, you pay for the experience. Okay, why do you pay twice or as much for a cup of coffee in a five-star hotel than you would on a street side? Maybe the street side coffee is better,
Mm.
Yes.
but the reason you pay twice as much is that you're not only paying for the coffee, you're paying for the ambience, you're paying for the experience, you're also paying in the hope that you'll be seen.
Mm.
Okay? That's somebody will see you and say, "Yaar, dekho, he's having coffee." And, you know? So,
Yes.
Pakistanis are very, very particular. They
Yes.
have to
Yes.
be
The
seen.
show. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know? Yeah. I remember there was a time that when we had keys to our rooms,
Hmm.
the business card, there used to be a very ugly plastic heavy key. And the reason they were heavy was that we didn't want our customers to take them with them by mistake. So if anything's heavy in your pocket, you'll remember, oh, I have the hotel key.
Mm.
So the business executive floor keys were red, and the normal floor were brown or green. Okay. So when you came for breakfast, you made sure you put that red key right on your table so that everybody,
Knew
so that
that.
everybody, so
So,
everybody passing your
sorry,
table.
I don't want to disturb you. It's a very good discussion, but I just recall in my mind about the Emirates business class. You can say the tag. If you are
Yeah,
flying, maybe you have flown last year, but now you are
yeah,
flying with
He'll
other
keep it.
airlines.
He'll keep it.
So just recall.
exactly.
Sorry for that.
Yeah. So what happened was that people used to keep this red tag so that everybody else, people that don't even know, everybody coming in the coffee shop, they see the red tag. Now what happened was that hotels shifted to cards. Now you can open your room with a card.
Mm.
Our customers got very upset.
Hmm.
They got
Hmm.
very
That's
upset
very- You
because
cannot show it.
the one means that they could tell the world, we removed that means. The same thing used to happen with PIA. Business class boarding cards were a different color,
Mm.
Yes.
and you saw them put them in the
Mm.
They
pocket
want
with the
the
color outside. Okay,
Mm.
the
Mm.
color was on the outside.
Yeah.
Now on the inside there was a stamp, and that stamp used to even mark your shirt or destroy your shirt, but that was fine as long as the color was outside. Now the day the airlines went to the same boarding card, a lot of customers got upset. So
Yeah.
this is psyche working. Anyway, coming back to the question that we are a human contact industry, Also understand how hospitality started.
Mm.
Hospitality didn't start with tourism. Hospitality, the first hotels in history were made for three reasons.
Mm.
The
Mhm.
first reason was to assist people who worked for the government.
Mm.
Because 200 years ago, this postman used to go on a horse to deliver the mail. So when he rode for 6 to 8 hours, he needed a room at the end so that his horse was changed and he rested and he was given a fresh horse and the next morning he rode again. So all these government people who were working, uh, rooms were made for them. The second reason why lodging was required was for religious purposes. People went from one position to the other for religious pilgrimage, different kinds of pilgrimage. People traveled for hundreds of miles for religion. And the third reason why rooms were required was for medicinal purposes, for health. That people used to go, I remember in Pindi, if you had TB, you had to go to Goda Gali because
Mm. Mm.
the cooler
Yes.
the
Yes.
environment,
Yes.
so these were the three reasons why hospitality started. Recreation and tourism came much later.
Okay.
Both of we holidays came much later.
Yeah.
Now what's going to happen is that the recovery of airline travel
Hmm.
and of hospitality is going to be very, very challenging, extremely challenging. And you will have to lessen the pain. You can't reduce the pain. You will have to lessen the pain. Okay. You will have to find ways to cut expenses. You will have to find way to become leaner and meaner. Less people will do work more. And will that mean a layoff? It could possibly mean a layoff. I don't know. But, there's no right or wrong answer. Our office is starting this Monday on the 1st. So I'm going
Okay.
to be going to office for the first time after 9 or 10 weeks. When I arrive in office, that's the first time we'll actually kind of know that
Hmm.
what are we
Hmm.
faced with.
Hmm.
Sitting at
Hmm.
home, you can
Hmm.
only visualize, but
Hmm.
how the numbers will take shape, what you have cash,
Hmm.
and you see a lot of people make this mistake and they say, because this is such a big group, they can sustain. Profit is not the same as cash.
Mm.
Yes.
A group can have a lot of profits, they may not have the cash.
Cash,
And
yes.
in times of COVID, cash flow is your survival. Your profits are not your survival, because profit technically is not cash in banks.
Yes.
If salaries have to be paid, you need cash. Okay, so yes, it is. I'm sorry, I don't have any good news. I wish I did, uh, but the good news I have is that we shall pull through. That I
Inshallah.
am confident about, because uh, let alone the rest of the world, I know the Pakistani nation, as
Mm.
fragmented as we are, when we are faced with something like this, we somehow gel together. And my prayer always has been that we should not need a disaster to gel together. We should be gelling together in good times also, right? But we will pull together. I think,
Inshallah.
we will find a way.
Bismillah.
It's not
Bismillah.
it's not going to be easy, but we will find a way. That's the only answer I have for you guys. Anything else will be just speculation.
Bismillah, sir. You just said very right. I mean, when you said we were not a nation earlier in your comment, the one thing that struck in my mind was what happened in 2005. We were together. What happened in 2008? We were together. What happened in 2013? And what just happened in COVID? We were out of everything, but still people were paying to Prime Minister for the COVID fund. But thank you for
Absolutely.
putting it together. You just cleared it that we gel together in the bad times, but you want
Yeah,
nation to gel all
but
the time
yeah, but my hope and prayer is that we must gel together in the good times as well.
in the good times.
Yeah, because
So
if you gel together in the good times, then in bad times, whenever they come, then your survival becomes easier.
okay, okay,
You know,
sir.
like for example, okay, go ahead.
Yeah, we also have an appreciation for you that you have brought a very new to Pakistan an idea of education division of hospitality industry. We never had it. Philippines were exporting skilled hoteliers and hotel staffs.
Yes,
Everybody else was doing. Pakistan was not doing. Thank you for bringing it, sir.
you're very
Uh,
welcome. Thank you.
I mean, when we look at it, things like initiatives like this, we as a youngsters get encouragement that see things are doing differently. There are people who are actually taking the lead. My question is, how do you see us exporting our skilled hotelier? How soon that can be possible? Number one, and how would it impact our economy as well?
Okay, good question. First of all, we are exporting hospitality people. The only problem is we are exporting them at a very low level. You
Okay.
you go to Dubai and you'll
Yes.
find hundreds of waiters from
Yes.
Pakistan,
Yes.
but you will never find senior management.
Yes.
So our school's basic idea behind our school was that this is a leadership school. Anybody who graduates from here will get a BSc degree from Sheffield Hallam University,
Mm,
and that person will be acceptable worldwide. Okay,
mm, mm.
and when he walks into a hotel, and mind you, it's hospitality, it's not hotel management. So
Yes.
hospitality means uh, theme park management like Disneyland and stuff like that. Hospitality means cruise management, cruise liners. It means airline management, tourism management, travel agencies. Hospitality is really a very wide picture. We make the mistake of linking hospitality with hotels. Okay,
Yes.
hotels is just a very small part of hospitality. But our image was that we realized that in 70 years, that Pakistan doesn't have a leadership hospitality school.
Mm.
We have a lot of very good institutions that are producing skilled kids,
Yes.
but at
Understanding
a
that.
very low entry level. Okay,
Yes.
and we wanted to just raise the bar, because look at banking. Pakistani bankers go all over the world.
Yes,
Look
they
at
do.
doctors. Pakistani doctors go all over the world, and they're senior medical practitioners anywhere in big hospitals. The
Yes.
only area we don't, well, one of the areas we don't excel is hospitality. We keep
Yes.
sending, lower level people. So this school, hopefully in 3 years from now or 4 years from now, when our first batch graduates, they will not only they don't have to work in Pakistan. I'm hoping they will, but we are equipping them to take that degree and walk anywhere in the world, and they will get a job, right?
Inshallah.
So yes, that was the idea behind the school. It was Mr. Sadruddin Hashwani's dream.
Okay.
For various reasons, it couldn't be put into motion. So when I joined the group, Murtaza Hashwani sort of asked me, "Can we do this?" And I said, "Of course we can." And we did it. And fingers crossed.
Inshallah.
Inshallah, this will be very good for the country.
Yes,
It's
sir.
very. We are not going to make money from this. Understand this. It is not a money making thing. If we just meet our expenses, it's a good thing. But this is payback to Pakistan. It's a time comes when you pay back to the country, and that's our sentiment. That every graduate that leaves this school will eventually be a reward for Pakistan.
So any basic criteria, sir, for this admission, and how, for
Yeah.
example, if someone want to go in your school, is there any basic criteria?
Exactly like any other university, A levels or
Mm.
FAFSC. So
Okay.
like after A levels, you can go to any university. The same thing is here. Okay, there will be written tests, there will be interviews, everything, and then Sheffield Hallam will also interview the students, not only
Oh,
us.
okay.
Yeah. So, and because we have a very strong contract with Sheffield Hallam, the entire curriculum has come
Mm.
from there.
Ah,
Every to the last full stop and comma has come from
mm,
Sheffield Hallam. So whatever Sheffield Hallam is teaching there, we are replicating there. I and my entire faculty, we went to Sheffield Hallam for teacher training.
Mm.
okay.
So they
Mm.
actually they actually taught us, although I've trained all my life, but they said no, you need
Mm.
to come here for training. So I had to
Oh,
go back to school and we all actually went through a training program. So it's a very professional and very tight thing. We can't do anything loose in that. Hopefully, the result will be good.
Inshallah. Sir,
Inshallah,
you have
inshallah.
been training executives and managers and young managers. You have been raising the capacity bar in the corporate world. It's a wild question, but you may put it into a quantitative way. Where in the hospitality industry and tourism industry you see the capacity of people right now in Pakistan? What level from 0 to 10 would you give them, and why?
Okay. There's a very large hotel group in the world called the Taj Hotels. Okay, they are owned by Ratan Tata,
Yes.
and I've had the pleasure of meeting him because he was a guest at the Islamabad Serena Hotel many years ago. So then I went to Delhi and I stayed at one of his hotels, and a truly outstanding setup the Taj Hotels has. And you know how they hire their people, how they hire the youngsters?
No.
Not not by grade. The
Okay.
HR people, they go to a university, and
Mm-hmm.
if they are final year students in the class, they actually go into the class and they ask the teacher one question. The teacher,
Mm-hmm.
identify the 4 or 5 kids that were most respectful to you in the last 4 years.
Ah,
End
Uh-huh.
of story. Cut. End of story. End of story. Because that means that respect is in that kid's DNA. You don't
mm,
have to teach him anything. You
mm,
make him wear a uniform and you put him behind the front desk and he will look after your guest because he doesn't need Azam Jamil. And
mm,
I used to joke, I said, if we follow the Tata model, Azam Jamil will become unemployed.
mm.
No, that's not gonna
because
happen.
because and nothing would make me happier. So
Uh,
they hire by attitude, they don't hire by
Mm,
grades. They
mm, mm.
don't care whether he has 4 A's or 5 A's, or they ask the teacher, the kids most respectful to you will join the Tata chain. So it's a totally new outside because these are hospitality people. So coming back
Mm,
to your question, we are genetically hospitable people.
Yeah.
Okay.
If anybody comes to our house,
Hmm.
until we increase 1500 calories in that person, we don't let him go.
Yes, that is very right.
Because our only expression of love is gulab jamun.
Yeah.
Our
Yes.
expression our expression of love is korma, palau.
Sir,
So
it's very
Pakode, sir,
difficult.
pakode, sir.
It's very
As
difficult to
by
exactly,
get
any chance
things
you come
here.
to
exactly.
Peshawar, sir, we'll
So,
give you a mutton
but
in animal
So
fat, sir.
by
don't take
believe
name of
me,
Gulab Jamun, sir, please. I
believe
cannot
me
go
that
between you.
I have been I I cook myself, and
Yes, sir.
even after my bypass, I cook dumba in animal fat
By the way, sir, just to the
because
only
there are certain things I can't give up.
sir, my father being hardcore Pathan has
Hmm.
only one guna that he makes every second week, sir. That is
Yes,
eating a mutton in Dumba in the mother's Dumba's land.
exactly.
That
Of
is the
course,
only guna he does, sir. Being
now I have a
diabetic, being cardiac patient, sir.
absolutely. Now I've controlled it. Obviously, I have to look after myself, but
Alhamdulillah,
the we are basically hospitable people.
sir.
We like to look. If any guest comes to our house, our whole house is focusing on that person. you know and if somebody is staying in your house, your entire house revolves around that one person. What that person wants for lunch, what that person wants for breakfast, is the AC working, is the fan working, are the sheets changed? And that's what hospitality is. So we grow up in that culture, and when we do that for a living, it becomes easier. It's not a open and shut case. I've had nightmares teaching our kids hospitality. Some don't learn, but by and large, it's easier for us because we are generally a more hospitable nation, and that helps eventually.
Hmm.
Sir,
But I
sir,
just,
now
sorry, Jawad, just one thing is coming in my mind. When you are going to the any new country, it's happened with me as well, and what we are hearing from the other people as well. So two or three experiences are very important when we are reaching to the country. For example, one is the airport, is immigration, how the people are dealing. Unfortunately, in Pakistan, is not sometimes is good
Yeah,
experience. The second is the car, a driver, or you can say taxi, or the hotel car is very important because how they are dealing with the guest. And number three is very very important of the hotel. So whenever we go to the new country, and the experience and how they are dealing with us, this is very important. And I heard about this discussion from you. I'm very happy. So now we are also having these educated people in the domestic, and we also will export, of course, but the domestic people and domestic, you can say, the
absolutely,
and hospitality will be improved everywhere, because this is I think
absolutely.
very weak area at this moment, and now
Right.
people are going to increase here, and they are going to visit here. Unfortunately, the COVID-19, I have seen a lot of campaigns in Malaysia and other countries to ask them to go in Pakistan and how it look like and what we can do over there. So is very happy, and thank you very much for enlighten on this topic.
Amir, another thing I want to point out is, you know why all these services that you mentioned, like taxi and everything, the reason why we haven't been able to fix this is simple. We have not realized our interdependence on each other.
Yeah.
Okay, the minute the entire hospitality
Mm.
panorama identifies that we are dependent on each other, and if one link in that chain breaks, the entire chain breaks.
Yeah.
Okay, so somebody could be staying with me, and if he goes to the market and he's mistreated, or if he's, let's say, somebody's being dishonest with him, he will never come back to Pakistan again. So the
Mm.
shopkeeper will lose a customer, the hotel will lose a customer, the airline will lose a customer, and the taxi driver will lose a customer.
Yeah.
So we are interdependent. We are working in isolation. And
Mm.
whenever stakeholders work in isolation, the result can never be good. We
Mm.
need to sit together and say, okay, there used to be a time when we were young, we used to say, कि वो जिन की जान तोते में है,
Because
so So our lives are in each other's hands. I can make the best hotel on the planet. What happens when my customer leaves my hotel? How is he treated outside of the four walls? Because if he's mistreated outside of the four walls, regardless of how good my hotel is, he will not come back.
Mm.
And this is a realization that we need to make. Like I said, that tourism is now a industry. And an industry means there are many stakeholders in this industry. And all stakeholders need to sit together, okay? And say, okay, if you, goof up, I will suffer. If I goof up, you will
Yeah.
suffer. So we need to do this together. And I'm sure we will,
Yeah.
inshallah.
Azam sir, this brings me to a question that I haven't seen much of these NGOs or governments working or pulling together the complete supply chain. You, as you just mentioned, our complete cycle, as you just referred to in our tourism industry. I have seen this new government putting a lot of efforts to grow the tourism industry. But then again, as you said, the link, the chain could not be made through. We haven't made much of a programs to teach our people
Mm.
to,
Mm.
to teach our people. We haven't managed to train our all these stakeholders to manage it. So do you think we require a complete a sort of a group or a body or a council to actually address this chain issue?
Jawad, to be very honest, we've had all these for years.
Okay, we
They've
had.
just been ineffective. You
Uh,
know, uh, who is better in making committees than us?
Mm.
no,
We
no, but
we
I meant the
we
effective committee.
no, I we are the world champions in committee forming. Okay, and and we have been doing it historically, and these are necessary. The only problem is that they need to become effective, and they will only become effective is because when we start working together, when we start realizing that I need you. And forget hospitality. I teach this to students that there is not a single instance of individual success in human history.
Mm.
Not one,
Okay, okay.
right? There are examples of individual glory,
Ah, yeah,
Mm.
there's a difference.
right?
Okay, okay, okay. So there's a difference. Yes, yes.
Glory is individual.
Yeah.
Success आज तक individual नहीं हुई. And
Mm.
I can quote you two or three examples. Edmund Hillary is the first person to climb on Everest. He had 348 people in his expedition helping him up the mountain. Do you know the names? Do you know the names of those 348 people? You
No,
don't. You
no, no.
know Edmund Hillary's name because the glory goes to him, right?
Mm,
So the fact is that people need to realize that nobody's a Tipu Sultan anymore. Okay, for
mm,
them to succeed, you need somebody else. You may get the glory, but there is no case of individual success. And I challenge anybody to name me one person who they think has achieved. Look at the biggest of all examples, the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, right? He is the prophet of prophets. Did he achieve everything alone? Can you imagine his support mechanism that he had?
yes.
Hazrat Ali on one side, Hazrat
Mhm.
Khadija on one side, everywhere there were people helping him. But
Yes.
who's the prophet? The prophet is Hazrat Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So the glory, even he couldn't succeed alone. He
Mhm.
had help.
Mhm.
Every person that you think is successful has had people behind him.
Mhm.
And this is what I tell all the young students and even the young managers. I said, you want to succeed, make sure the people who you work with, they like you. They must like you. They listen to you. You know why they're listening to you? Because they get paid to listen to you.
Sir, don't
But
forget the
But
example of
how to make people
my
listen to us without paying them? That is another
yeah,
challenge.
why
And we are
not?
never
So
facing that.
So the question is that do people listen to you because they want to or because they have to?
Mm.
And the minute you convert that have to want,
True.
you will succeed.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that.
Well, so the empowerment without authority. I mean, that's how would
Exactly.
it be? Yeah.
Also, empowerment without authority is a very nice word. I always treat it something else. I always say, always convey intention, never instruction.
Mm.
Hmm.
Right?
Good point.
The minute you convey instruction, you
Mm.
are just creating a follower.
Yeah.
If you convey intention,
Mm.
then he will do whatever, and he, of course, he'll make a mistake. Correct the
Mm.
mistake. He will
Mm.
make a mistake. But have you seen mothers walk into their daughter's room and say, "Apna kamra saaf karo"? That's it. The intention, the intention is declared. It is never ke isko wahan rakho and keep this there.
Mm.
Your room needs to be fixed. That's the intention conveyed.
Mm.
So even in management, we make a very bad habit of conveying instruction. And you know why we convey instruction? We convey instruction because we feel that if I convey instruction, so there'll be no mistakes.
Mm.
Of course, there'll be no mistakes. But you know what's going to happen? One day you will not be there.
Mm.
And then your system will fall apart because the person who gave the instructions is no longer
Yes,
there.
not there.
Yeah.
Mm.
So one of the reason I think this is also we don't believe other people. We believe on ourselves. Or what I can do, other people can't do it. So it's a very good. I think we must have the one more session on the management. So we will talk.
Yes.
And,
We talk more.
anytime, anytime,
So
anytime.
one more question because we are running on our timelines. That's 1 hour.
Okay.
One more question that I have, as we understood from the conversation we had, that yes, the hospitality industry and again the hospitality and tourism industry would rise again, but they are going to have a very tough and challenging times ahead. Uh,
Yeah.
what sort of support this industry would be looking from the government? Because so far we haven't seen a single relief package for this industry.
Mm.
We have seen the package for manufacturing industry, from imports, from healthcare, to even the consumer sector. But I haven't seen even the cash-rich industry of banks. They have supported them. They have given them a more spread of 6-7%. But I haven't seen any sort of relief package for this industry. What kind of a relief package would you see? And if it doesn't comes up, do you think that these people would go to the government and ask for it, or they will manage themselves?
Look, there is a Pakistan Hotels and Motels Association. Okay? And there's a Pakistan PHA. There's a Pakistan
Right.
Hotels Association, and they have representatives of all the hotels, and they have office bearers. And I'm sure. I mean, I don't know. I'm not a part of PHA, but I can only assume that they are doing the homework on what you and I are talking about. Okay, they are listening to the government, the support they need. Having said that, understand that a package is a nice word.
Mm.
Okay, however, it is directly linked with resources. Okay,
Yeah.
if you have a resource, you will give a package. It's a lovely word to use. The government, as I see it, does not have many resources, right? So it has to prioritize which is the industry they need to support first, and which is the any government would love to support every industry in their own country. Who wouldn't? But there are limitations. So I am assuming, I don't know, that the Pakistan Hotel Association or other hoteliers, they must be putting a list of the help that they want. And sometimes the help doesn't come in pure cash. It comes in rebates, it comes in tax rebates, it comes in removal of import duties, anything that can help the industry. But like I said, that it's not my area, but I'm sure somebody's working on it. And once this proposal, when and if it gets to the government, I'm sure the government will consider it.
Very well then. So we are just right on our time. Thank you very much, Azam Sahab. It was
So
excellent and lovely conversation. As you said, the natural, it should be, and natural it was. Uh, I appreciate your time. Me and Ame, we both
No, no.
thank you for your time. I'm sure the listeners and the viewers would have learned a lot. We got a lot of new learnings today. I wanted to ask you, what are the I mean, if your last message could encompass the three qualities that an employee would have, or as an employer you want to see, what would that be? And with that note, we would close our show.
That's exactly what I wanted you to ask because it's because you just dug your own grave. Okay. Now, um, a lot of senior directors uh, have asked me, and when I go to some other company, they say, "Yeah, I want a general manager sales, and he must have these qualities." And you know what my first question is? I said, "Do you have these qualities?" Because the law of attraction, this is not a joke. The law of attraction means you will get what you are, not what you want. जो तुम हो तुम्हें वही मिलेगा
बिल्कुल.
और जो तुम नहीं हो वो तुम्हें अगर मिल गया तो वो 2 महीने बाद भाग जाएगा. He'll run away. So I think we need to look at the employers, not at the employees. Whatever the employers are, they will get those employees. If you are a nice leader, if you are a decent
Wow.
human being, if you are a sympathetic person, you close your eyes and you will get such nice kids there. But first of all, answer, do you have these qualities? That's what the issue is, not the youth. The youth is unprepared. They've just come out of school. They don't even know the way to the washroom. You know, to expect them to express so many qualities is very good for papers and training programs. But the reality is what? If you want decent people, become decent yourself. It's a very simple formula.
Beautiful word, sir. Last word, I love it. Seriously.
Sir, with this
And
note,
okay. First of all, I hate giving last messages because last messages somehow give the impression that this is going to solve everybody's problem in Pakistan. Okay, so I don't have a last message, but what I would like you to do is that if you
yes.
can display my email on your whatever you're doing, so if anybody wants to write to me to ask a specific question, I'll be happy to answer it,
Sure, sure.
providing I know the answer because
Yep.
I'm not a Danishwar. So they're quite possible. I mean, so it's Azam, AZAM
Yep.
53, Azam53 at iCloud.com.
53 number.
Yes, 5-3.
53 number,
5-3.
yeah. Azam53 at iCloud.com.
Okay, sir. I'm trying.
So if anybody wants to, they just need to give a reference of this program. And if they have a specific question to ask, I can at least try to answer it.
This is so nice of you, sir. We would, of course, add into our the titles beneath our program, and I'm sure those who would watch it in the recorded session would know your email address. Thank you very much, Azam Sahab. I am sure, and with the promise, I am sure that you will join us again soon if you liked our program. Uh,
Whenever people say, are you free on Monday? So I said I looked at my diary and I just noticed I was free for the next 5 years. Okay, so 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 don't worry. I don't pretend to be busy. Whenever you guys need me, just give me a day's notice and I'll be there for you.
Perfect. Perfect.
Thank you. So with this note, all you people, please stay safe, follow SOP, और अल्लाह हम सब पे अपना रहम करे. अल्लाह हाफिज,
Amin.
अल्लाह हम सब का
Amin.
हामी हो.
Amin. Amin. Amin.
Perfect.